Chapter 1.1, Identifying Ways of Earning Income. This is a pretty short little lesson, just talking about the methods that you can, that are used to calculate income. Try these, this is use mental math, so it actually says don't use a calculator. So what I sometimes do for this is I look for things that might add up to, in this case, 1,000. So I see 750 and 250, so that adds up to 1,000. And then adding to 1,200, that would be 2,200. And then adding 500 to that would be 2,700. Okay, next one, I don't see a whole lot of patterns between these two basically. So 10,000 is pretty easy to add to this number. So I do these together and I get 22,150, and then adding the 3,820, probably I would actually line it up as an addition problem using place value columns and then go from there. That way you don't make any mistakes. So 25,970. Okay, so these are the methods of earning income. So really depends on the type of job that you have. Certain types of job are commonly paid in the same way. So for example, a lot of you might have part-time jobs where you earn an hourly wage. Often for part-time jobs, it's by the hour. If it's full-time, you might get paid by the hour as well, but for your age level, you probably have a part-time job when you get one, if you don't already, and get paid by the hour. So you get a certain amount of money. I think minimum wage right now is $15 in Alberta, $15 per hour. So that's why it's listed. Store clerk, fast food restaurant worker, any kind of hospitality job will probably pay that way. Wage and tips. So that might be where you work in hospitality, but you get tips. So you're a server. Some restaurants will combine all their tips and then share them amongst the servers and the cooks and that kind of thing. But you do get an hourly wage, and then obviously the tips depend on how much the patrons give to you. Okay, so that's another method. Salary. This for me is how I get paid as a teacher. So you know what your yearly income is, and then they divide it out and pay you each month. Some places will pay you every 2 weeks. Some places will pay you twice a month, which is slightly different from every 2 weeks. But usually you don't get paid just once a year. So it's a salary, and that means if you work longer hours 1 week, you don't get any more pay. So teachers, we teach during the day, and then we have extracurriculars, we have marking, preparing, that kind of thing. It's just one salary. It's not by the amount of hours. Commission, so anytime you go into a store where they are kind of on you to help you. How can I help you? Can I get you to find, what can I find for you? That kind of thing. Either they're paid by commission or their sales are tracked and they might get recognition, whether it's pay or better shifts or that kind of thing, more hours. So commission for sure on real estate agents, car salesmen, any big ticket item. So maybe furniture, some electronics, that kind of thing. Clothing stores, as I said, I don't think they get commission, but they do keep track. If you go to the till, sometimes they ask you, who is serving you today? And they'll enter their employee number. And so they track how many sales that person had. So just be aware of that. Royalty is a payment for a piece of work that is marketed and sold, a percentage of sales. So in a way, it's like a commission, but it's often for art or music and that kind of thing. So for example, every time a song is played, there's some kind of royalty it's like minimum because it's played a lot of times, but there's some money associated with that. TV shows that you'll hear they've gone into syndication, and so shows like Seinfeld and Friends and that were popular many years ago still get played, and in some cases those actors get royalties. It really depends on the contracts that they decided to give, but that would be a royalty. Piecework is what you get paid for each item that you make or each thing that you do. So often maybe in a factory where you're making certain items, each item, if you're responsible for the whole thing, you would get paid a certain amount for each of those that you make in those days. You can see here cable TV installers. So each time they come out to install cable, they would get a certain amount of money, that kind of thing. A contract is kind of a one payment deal or one cost deal, but then you probably would get installments. So for example, a contractor for building a house, the contract cost is decided on, and then you don't just wait to the end to pay. You need to pay them part way through, and you decide on that, but it's a fixed amount of money for that entire contract. Okay, so those are ways of getting paid.